Let me rewind 18 months so you understand how one woman's ego turned a quiet desert neighborhood into a battlefield. I just buried my last living relative and inherited 4 acres in Crestwood Haven from Grandpa Elias, a dusty old homesteader who'd staked his claim in 1872. The property sat on an original land patent that predated the HOA by over a century. When developers carved up the desert in 1998 and slapped together these beige stucco boxes, Grandpa's parcel got grandfathered in. Legally part of the community. Practically an island of stubborn freedom, ringed by 420 identical homes, where even your cactus height needs board approval. I'm a semi-retired historic restoration architect. Spent 35 years saving old buildings from the wrecking ball. The irony? About to hit me like a wrecking ball. Fresh off a nasty divorce that took half my 401k and every ounce of patience for passive-aggressive emails, I moved to Arizona with 2 rescue mutts, Rusty the 3-legged mutt and Luna the anxious shepherd, and started fresh. Mornings on the wraparound porch smelling creosote after rain, roadrunners darting across the wash, the low hum of distant golf carts. I restored the 1870s adobe wall myself, planted heirloom desert roses, volunteered at the Veterans Food Pantry on Wednesdays, even designed free wheelchair ramps for the local library. Kept my head down. Small-town Arizona respects that. Pay your dues, don't rock the golf cart, you're golden. Then I met Madison Whitaker. 51. Real estate influencer who married rich twice and now ran the Crestwood Haven HOA like a desert dictator with perfect highlights. Platinum blonde blowout that cost more than my truck payment. White Range Rover with vanity plate HOA queen. She'd greet you at meetings with Namaste neighbors. Right before slapping a $400 fine on your mailbox for the wrong shade of beige. The board? 7 members. Madison owned 6 votes and the 7th guy's mortgage. She'd fined old Mrs. Alvarez $600 for an unauthorized ceramic roadrunner statue. Meanwhile, her book club circle had inflatable pink flamingos year-round and nobody blinked. My crime? The historic adobe wall. Documented by the State Historical Society as predating the subdivision. Madison called it visually disruptive to desert harmony. 6 months after I moved in, the first violation notice arrived. Non-compliant exterior elements. Remedy in 30 days or $300 weekly fines. I appealed with photos from the 1890s, expert letters, county records. The county sided with me. Madison's smile never wavered. But I saw her manicured nails dig into her leather portfolio until the knuckles went white under the fluorescent lights. That was the warning shot. Over the next year the citations piled up like desert tumbleweeds. My work truck parked on the street overnight. Nobody else got ticketed. A non-regulation hummingbird feeder. Luna barking once at the mail truck. I paid every fine, kept quiet, tried to vanish. Then came Madison's masterpiece, the Community Wellness Trail and Solar Lighting Project. A fancy paved path slicing straight through the back 2 acres of my land to shave 90 seconds off the golf cart ride to the clubhouse spa. 90 seconds to bulldoze saguaros that had stood since before Arizona was a state, and the adobe wall Grandpa built with his own calloused hands. She held the vote at a special meeting I was never notified about. My email bounced. Tuesday morning, 6:12 a.m. Rusty started howling like the world was ending. I stumbled outside in plaid pajama pants and saw the nightmare. 2 bulldozers, a backhoe, and a crew in neon vests crawling over my property like locusts. Diesel fumes mixed with the cool desert dawn. One machine was already carving a trench through my saguaro grove. The other lined up on Grandpa's adobe wall. Hey, what the hell? I sprinted over, waving my arms like a madman. The foreman, Trey, according to his vest, climbed down looking bored. HOA authorized project. Start date today. Problem. Call them. He shoved the work order at me. Madison's looping signature at the bottom, probably written while sipping a $9 acai bowl. I never approved this. This is my land. Trey shrugged. Contract says otherwise, dude. Talk to the queen. I called Madison. Voicemail greeted me with living my best desert life. Namaste. I tried the management company. Prestige Community Services, $1,400 a year per homeowner to ignore complaints. Receptionist put me on hold with pan flute music that made me want to commit minor felonies, then chirped, "Mrs. Whitaker handles special projects personally." By the time I hung up, they'd already demolished 30 feet of wall. The backhoe revved. I watched the bucket slam into the adobe. The crack sounded like a rifle shot in the quiet morning. 152 years of family history gone in 90 seconds. I photographed everything, the tire ruts gouging the desert floor, the shattered saguaros lying like fallen soldiers, roots torn open and bleeding white pulp. Then I drove straight to the county recorder's office. Hands shaking so hard I could barely grip the microfilm. No easement. No covenant. No legal right for the HOA to touch 1 inch of my grandfathered land. I filed a police report. Deputy Ramirez, a good guy who coached my nephew's little league, walked the property line with me. "This is ugly, Ethan. Civil matter, not criminal. You'll need an injunction. Itch's gonna lawyer up and hide behind bylaws." He squeezed my shoulder. "Get an attorney. Today." I emailed Madison from my truck. "Cease and desist, illegal trespass and destruction. Photos attached." CC'd the entire board. Her reply pinged back in 4 minutes. "Ethan, please review Bylaw 14.7c. Project approved per community vote. Sorry you're upset, but work continues. See you in court, sweetie." I opened the 112-page covenant, legal sludge designed to make you quit and plant approved xeriscaping. Bylaw 14.7c. Board may authorize improvements on any parcel demonstrating majority community benefit. Translation: we do whatever we want if we vote yes. Vague enough to drive a bulldozer through. Literally. My lawyer Rebecca Klein called it legally radioactive at best. HOA war chest was deep, they'd bleed me dry. Retainer alone. $9,500. Then the process server hit me at the food pantry, while I was ladling chili for veterans. Handed me the lawsuit papers in front of 30 people. $52,000 for project delays. The room went graveyard quiet. Public humiliation, Arizona style. Madison didn't just want to win. She wanted me socially executed first. 3 days later, the whisper campaign kicked off. Hardware store conversations died when I walked down the aisle. At the farmer's market, the woman I'd swapped tomato starts with for a year suddenly became obsessed with her phone. Then came the Facebook post in the private Crestwood Haven group, 748 members strong. Madison at 9 p.m. On a Sunday. It breaks my heart when one resident's selfishness threatens everyone's safety and property values. The board has poured love into improvements for all of us, but sadly some think rules don't apply. Sending prayers for peaceful resolution. Community first, Crestwood strong. No name. Didn't need one. Comments flooded in like monsoon runoff. Some people move here and act like they own the desert. He screamed at the crew. Dangerous. I never raised my voice above normal conversation. His divorce clearly left him unstable. My daughter Sophie called from college at midnight, voice cracking. "Dad, my roommate's mom just texted asking if you're having a breakdown." The grocery store became a minefield, squeaky cartwheels announcing the local pariah, while neighbors studied frozen burrito nutrition labels like scripture. That's when retired postal worker Lionel Ruiz knocked on my door with a green chili casserole and a manila folder thick as a phone book. Lionel had voted against the trail and promptly got cited for a non-compliant mailbox post that had sat in the same spot for 17 years. "Figured you could use this," he said, handing me the folder. "And the casserole, don't judge, it's my late wife's recipe. Tastes better than it looks." Inside. 3 years of unredacted HOA minutes. Madison had funneled $47,000 to her brother's landscaping LLC over 2 years for jobs that should have cost half. Meeting notices bounced for anyone who disagreed with her. Selective enforcement so blatant it was almost comedic, if it weren't bankrupting people. Lionel sipped my coffee and said quietly, "She's a bully with a yoga mat and a gavel. But bullies get sloppy when they think they're untouchable." That night I filed the formal records request for financials, legal right in Arizona. Madison's attorney tried to stall. I filed a state complaint. 10 days later, the spreadsheets landed in my inbox. The wellness trail budgeted at $92,000. County FOIA invoices showed real cost, $61,000. $31,000 vanished. Madison's realty firm was the registered agent for her brother's LLC. She was literally paying herself with HOA dues and calling it wellness. I sat in my kitchen at 2 a.m., numbers glowing, and felt something cold and sharp click into place. This wasn't about cacti anymore. This was about every family she'd crushed because nobody had the spine to stop her. I amended my countersuit that night. $165,000 for property damage, legal fees, emotional distress. Plus a formal complaint to the Arizona HOA Oversight Board with every padded invoice attached. Madison's lawyer called my claims frivolous and borderline defamatory. I didn't reply. Instead, I uploaded the public records to the community Facebook group with one line. Transparency matters. You decide. Madison deleted it in 43 minutes. But screenshots live forever, and 41 people had already downloaded the files. Private messages started flooding in from neighbors who'd suddenly remembered my name. The war had gone public. Madison called an emergency board meeting 4 days later. Agenda: member conduct violations, possible expulsion. 48 hours notice instead of the required 10. I made a note in the legal pad I now carried everywhere. Page after page of Madison's rookie mistakes piling up faster than desert sand after a windstorm. The clubhouse was standing room only. Cheap carpet, burnt coffee, and the faint smell of panic. Madison sat at the head table in a cream blazer that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, smile glued on like cheap laminate. "We hate doing this," she began, voice dripping fake concern. "But Mr. Caldwell's actions have created a hostile environment." PowerPoint slides appeared. Police report framed as false claims. My Facebook post labeled defamation. Photo of my truck parked overnight. Through the window I could literally see 3 other trucks parked on the street. The irony was thick enough to spread on fry bread. My lawyer stood. Madison cut her off with a razor smile. "This is an internal HOA matter." I'd been sitting there simmering, remembering Grandpa Elias's favorite saying, "Never interrupt your enemy when they're busy digging their own grave." I rose, calm, hands in pockets. "Just one question for the board." Madison's eye twitched. "Go ahead. Has anyone actually checked the contractor's insurance certificate?" The room froze. I pulled the folded document from my jacket, the one I'd requested from the county 3 days earlier. Green Path Construction's liability policy expired 11 days before they touched my property. Meaning if anyone got hurt, a kid on a bike, a dog walker, the HOA is personally liable. Your houses. Your savings. Your perfect little desert harmony. Board member Tiffany, a nervous accountant, turned the color of bleached bone. Treasurer Eugene stammered. "Madison, did you verify?" "This is a distraction," Madison snapped, knuckles white on the table. "And the county never issued a grading permit," I continued, voice steady. "Any earth moving over 1,000 square feet requires one. This trail is 40 feet wide by 200 long, 8,000 square feet. Fine in Arizona is 10 grand per day. It's been 57 days. I let the math hang like a noose." The room erupted. Residents shouted questions. Lionel grinned like he'd just won the lottery. Madison banged her little wooden gavel. Yes, she bought herself one. "We will table this and verify." Motion to vote on expulsion. The vote split 3-3. Madison broke the tie. "Mr. Caldwell is suspended from all HOA privileges pending resolution." But the energy in the room had flipped. People weren't staring at me anymore. They were staring at her with brand new questions. After the meeting, young mom Deanna cornered me in the parking lot. "How do we get her out?" she whispered. I showed her the recall petition draft I'd already prepared. "We need 30% of homeowners. Start knocking doors tomorrow." I drove home with the windows down. Cool October desert air washing over me. For the first time in months I didn't feel like I was drowning. I felt like a flash flood building behind a cracked dam. Madison had no idea the wall was about to break. The anonymous envelope arrived in my P.O. box 2 Saturdays later. No return address, just my name typed on a label. Inside, foreclosure papers from 2019. Crestwood Haven HOA vs. Mrs. Rosa Alvarez, Lot 39. $8,700 in fines and dues. Handwritten note clipped to the front in neat cursive. Ask why she really left. A friend. My blood went cold. I sat in my truck in the post office lot and read every violation notice. Fence height, unapproved desert poppies, driveway parking because her garage door broke. Each one stamped with Madison's signature. Mrs. Alvarez, 74, fixed income, lost her home. She died in assisted living 2 years later from stress-related complications. I found her daughter Maria through a local veterans group. When I called, Maria's voice was tight but steady. They buried Mom in paperwork until she couldn't breathe. Madison personally came to the door and told her the poppies were visually disruptive to community standards. Mom planted them herself after Dad died. Her little rebellion. They foreclosed anyway. Madison's firm listed the house 6 months later for double what they paid at auction. She made $80,000 off my mother's grave. That conversation crystallized everything. This wasn't about my saguaros anymore. This was about every senior, every veteran, every regular person Madison had steamrolled because the system let her. I told Maria I was forcing a recall and would need her testimony. She said yes without hesitation. The war room moved to my kitchen table that night. Lionel arrived with an ancient laptop and a thermos of coffee strong enough to dissolve adobe. Deanna brought 3 other moms armed with spreadsheets and righteous fury. We mapped every household Madison had ever found. Turned out she'd created enemies in roughly half the neighborhood. By week 2 we had 118 signatures. Flyers went out. Where do your HOA fees really go? Madison's Brothers Landscaping. $47K over market. Expired insurance on the trail project. $520K potential fines. 4 foreclosures on seniors in 5 years. All resold by Madison Whitaker Realty. Time for new leadership. The papers vanished overnight. People started showing up at my door with their own violation stories and casseroles. Madison panicked and called a community unity town hall. 12 people showed. 11 came to yell at her. 1 was her sister. Then the smear campaign went nuclear. Plain white envelopes in mailboxes. What you don't know about Ethan Caldwell. Half-truths about my divorce, claims I'd been let go from my last job, early retirement during restructuring, questions about my finances because I dared hire a lawyer. Sophie called in tears. Someone mailed a copy to her dorm. Dad, they're saying you're unstable. For 6 hours I wondered if Madison was winning. Then Lionel burst through my door at 9 p.m., out of breath. Eugene wants to talk. The treasurer. She just threw him under the bus in the group chat. Eugene sat at his kitchen table surrounded by papers, hands shaking around a cold mug. She made me cook the books, he whispered. Fake invoices. Shell companies. I trusted her at first. Then it got bigger. She knew about Margaret's medical bills. She hinted she could help with dues if I stayed quiet. I knew what happened to the Alvarezes. He slid a USB drive across the table. Real financials. $137,000 over 4 years. I'll testify. Just stop her before she kills someone else. I uploaded everything that night, real ledgers, kickback proofs, to the recall list and the state oversight board. By morning the local news was calling. By noon Madison's real estate license was under investigation. 2 more board members resigned rather than go down with her. The recall signatures hit 167.49%. The state certified it in 3 days. Election set for 30 days out. Lionel, Deanna, Maria, and I filed to run for the board. Madison's world was collapsing, but cornered Karen's fight dirty. Her lawyer showed up at my door offering settlement. Drop everything, she'd plant 10 new saguaros and pay $12,000 cash. I laughed in his face. My cacti were 150 years old. $10,000 doesn't buy history. He upped it to $28,000. I closed the door. The next morning my truck was keyed and my mailbox spray-painted liar. Security footage from Mrs. Chun, who'd been fined for the wrong color roses, showed Madison's brother's landscaping truck at 2 a.m. He was arrested for vandalism and witness intimidation. Then anonymous screenshots hit my inbox. Text messages between Madison and her brother. Scare him. Make this stop. Don't tell me details. I forwarded them everywhere. The community group exploded. Madison tried claiming they were fake. The timestamps matched the arrest. She just confessed to a crime in writing, because she honestly believed no one would ever hold her accountable. Election day arrived crisp and clear, the kind of Arizona morning that makes you believe in second chances. The clubhouse, same room where Madison had tried to expel me, had a line out the door by 9:30 a.m. Record turnout. Deputy Ramirez stood by the entrance in uniform, just keeping the peace. News vans lined the street. Madison arrived in her white Range Rover wearing pearls and a navy dress like she was running for Congress, smile brittle enough to shatter. She walked past the line without looking at anyone. I voted at 10:15. Filled in the bubbles for recall and the new board with a steady hand. The rest of the day crawled. I sat outside with Rusty and Luna watching families stream in. Jerry, the retired plumber who'd been fined for grass clippings in the wind, Mrs. Chun with her camera footage, Maria Alvarez who drove down from Phoenix. By 4 p.m., the line was still 20 deep. At 6:30 the lead counter stepped forward with her clipboard. The room went tomb silent. Total votes cast, 392. On the recall, 281 yes, 111 no. Cheers erupted. Someone started chanting, "Out! Out!" Madison stood frozen near the wall, face a porcelain mask. Then Deputy Ramirez stepped up, phone in hand. "Mrs. Whitaker, I need you to come with me." Her face drained of color. "The district attorney has issued a warrant, embezzlement, fraud, elder financial exploitation." Handcuffs clicked in front of 400 witnesses. The room stayed dead quiet until the door closed behind her. Then the applause started, slow at first, then thunderous. I stood in the middle of it thinking about Grandpa Elias, about the wall he built one adobe brick at a time, about every person Madison had buried under paperwork because she could. The new board's first meeting was the following Tuesday. No gavels, no PowerPoints, just 7 people around a table with coffee and notepads. Lionel was elected president. I became vice president because nobody else wanted to untangle Madison's financial mess. We recovered $102,000 through asset seizures. Refunded every retaliatory fine. Reversed hundreds of bogus violation notices. Rewrote the bylaws so no future Madison could ever happen again. Monthly financials posted online, competitive bids required, any board member with a financial conflict automatically disqualified. My property was restored, new saguaros planted, adobe wall rebuilt better than before, all paid for by recovered funds. We turned the old trail scar into the Alvarez Memorial Grove with winding paths, benches I built myself, and a stone marker that read, "In memory of those who came before us and in hope for those who come after. Choose kindness over cruelty. Justice over silence." Madison pleaded guilty to avoid trial. 18 months minimum security, 5 years probation, restitution that would follow her like a bad credit score. Her real estate license was revoked. Last I heard she was living with her sister in Tucson selling essential oils on Instagram. Karma isn't always poetic, but sometimes it's brutally efficient. I still wake up sometimes hearing that backhoe crack. Still get angry thinking about Rosa Alvarez and the stroke she never should have had. But mostly I feel something I haven't felt in years. Like I'm part of something good again. Crestwood Haven became the case that prompted new state legislation for HOA oversight. Not perfect but better. And sometimes better is enough. I'm sitting on my porch right now. Early spring. The new saguaros are budding. Rusty snores at my feet. Luna eyes a roadrunner with deep suspicion but hasn't barked yet. Personal growth. Lionel just texted. Board meeting Thursday. Agenda. New playground equipment proposals. Very boring. Very normal. Perfect. That's the thing, isn't it? We didn't just win a war. We made boring normal again. We turned the HOA back into what it was always supposed to be. A group that fixes streetlights and plans block parties instead of terrorizing retirees for profit. If your HOA has gone full dictator, you're not powerless. Document everything. Know your state laws. Most let you inspect records and petition for recall. Find allies. Follow the money because corruption always leaves receipts. And sometimes the most terrifying thing you can do to a bully is simply refuse to be scared. Drop your worst HOA horror story in the comments. The craziest one gets featured next video. And if you want more stories of regular people who fought back and actually won, smash that subscribe button. We're just getting started. Because Madison wasn't special. There are Madisons in every subdivision. Petty tyrants with bylaws and blowouts crushing people because nobody stops them. But there are also Lionels, Deannas, Mariahs, and Eugenies, people who finally decide enough is enough. People like you. So if you're staring down your own Madison right now wondering if the fight is worth it, it is. The saguaros are worth it. The Rosa Alvarezes of the world are worth it. Your peace is worth it. Fight back. Win. Then plant something beautiful where the ruins used to be. Now here's the question that keeps me up at night, and I want your honest take in the comments. When the HOA claims they're protecting community values, while secretly lining their own pockets and destroying families, who's really the villain? The guy who finally says no, or the system that rewarded the bully for years? Was I right to burn it all down, or did I become the problem by fighting fire with fire? Let's debate, because the next Madison is watching.